clean classrooms where we speak truth. By students, for students, that's the proof. Grab the mic, learn to move and groove. And our world, sit back and feel the youth.
For confidentiality and safety reasons, our design team members have opted to use fake names throughout their time on the podcast.
Welcome to Between the Classrooms. This is a podcast about student-led conversations about the schools we deserve. I'm your host, Mars.
And I'm your host, MJ. Thanks for tuning in. Every episode will explore topics that matter to students and schools, all through a student's lens.
Today's episode is our pilot episode, actually. We'll hear from members of our design team, share resources, and talk to either featured guests or educators working to change the classroom culture.
Our theme for this season is Schools We Deserve, so we'll be doing a deep dive into identity and belonging, affinity spaces, and safety and attendance, and much more.
An affinity space is an area, either physical or virtual, where people who share a common identity, interest, or experience can connect. In schools, affinity spaces provide a safe environment for students to feel understood and supported.
Additionally, we'll be featuring a banned book every episode, or two.
Well, let's get started. First on, design team history. I'll just talk about it here. What started off as a panel talking to educators and administrators and admin about student life and things we wish could have happened and things that went wrong in our schooling led to a bigger conversation on how to change the classroom culture. Being in front of all those educators and admins who are in charge of making student life, it was really important to hear. So with the help of our mentor, we started talking and we decided, and we also knew that there's a lot of stories that were unheard from the students' perspective of the classroom culture. We all came about, and what took months, we planned events talking to different kinds of students and their history about education, what worked, what didn't work. And that ended off with our design team in 2023. And then for 2024, we added more people in. That's how we got our host, MJ, along with us. And we added 10 members to our design team, all from different parts of the educational world, from schools that have more than 1,000 students to schools that only have 150 in rural areas. We are able to talk about how different the culture of classrooms are. Yeah, that is our design team history and how we started. So now I'm going to bring it to MJ to talk about why a podcast.
So the history of the podcast and how it came about is our team was thinking about how to do some outreach to our more rural districts, even our city districts, about how to help teachers, educators, anyone, staff, even students, more than just hosting summits and things. We wanted to outreach maybe not just in our state, but educators in other states, other districts, and we wanted to make sure that other schools really heard what we're doing and learned, because a lot of rural districts don't have the same things we do in city districts. We want to spread ideas and kind of help coach people into what we're going to be how to start affinity groups. We wanted this to be something where educators could listen to this on their way to work in their car. Students could listen to this in between classes. We wanted to work on something that made students and educators feel like they had the answers to all their questions. And we decided a podcast would be the best way for people to want to learn this. And so that's how our podcast came about.
Next segment, we're going to introduce you to our design team and some of our members.
Please note that some of the banned books mentioned by our design team members may include intense themes and situations, including the following: sexual assault, sexual harassment, domestic abuse, substance abuse, death, physical and mental illness, gun violence, and hate crimes. Some may be mentioned in the following interviews. Please do research before deciding to read any of the books and use your own discretion.
All right, we are here interviewing our design team members. So first of all, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Paige.
Okay, what are your pronouns?
She, her.
And what does the podcast mean to you?
This podcast is important to me because I feel like I've always been in a position where I need to advocate for myself and other people. So now that I'm surrounded with more people that have similar views and goals, it feels like I'm really making a lasting impact.
Awesome. And lastly, what is your favorite banned book?
My favorite banned book is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's written by Chbosky. It's a coming-of-age novel. It's written in letters to an anonymous receiver, and it goes through the stages of high school. It talks about mental health, sexuality, and friendship, and it's really changed my view on how I perceive people that I meet, making new friends, and treating people with kindness. It's a really beautiful book.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, we are back interviewing another design team member. So what is your name?
Hi, I'm Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. What are your pronouns?
She, her.
And what does this podcast mean to you?
I think the podcast is important because it shows the words of youth, and this podcast will just highlight our experiences and struggles as students in the world today.
Awesome. And what's your favorite banned book?
My favorite would have to be Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. It's a powerful warning over the control that the world has on women's bodies and how fast the world changes, and it really just shows the truth behind the way people view the world.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, so I'm with
RJ.
What are your pronouns?
She, her.
What is the meaning of this podcast for you?
To help educators understand how students feel.
All right, and what's your favorite banned book?
The Hate You Give.
Why is it your favorite banned book?
It's just real. It's a real perspective on life.
All right, well, thank you. All right, so I'm here with
Rosemary Princess.
What are your pronouns?
Pronouns are she, her.
What does this podcast mean to you?
I think this podcast is important for students to get the resources that they need.
Okay, and what is your favorite banned book?
My favorite banned book is probably Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. It talks about the relationship between slavery and mass incarceration.
Well, I'm glad you like that book. Sounds really good. All right, so I'm here with
S.
What are your pronouns?
He, him.
What is the meaning of this podcast to you?
To help people have something to listen to and look forward to, I guess.
Okay, and what's your favorite banned book?
The Hunger Games.
Why is it your favorite banned book?
It was one of the first books that I was really interested in after reading a little bit of it. It hooked me.
That's awesome. All right, thank you.
Hello, welcome back. And here we have our favorite auntie. What is your name?
My name is Sharpen.
All right, and what pronouns do you use?
I use she, her, and doctor.
There we have Dr. Sharpen. And why is this podcast important to you, or what does it mean to you?
I love that the creators of this podcast were thinking about a way to think about how student voice moves between classrooms, but also across buildings and across spaces. And I think that a podcast is such a cool way of sharing messages and sharing stories and sharing connections, kind of regardless of where you live.
Thank you, Doctor. Anyways, what is your favorite banned book?
That's so hard. I feel like most of the books I love end up on a banned book list right now. But I think about a book that was probably really big for me as a kid, maybe, was a tie between Beloved by Toni Morrison and then The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm back with the next design team member. So what's your name?
T.
What are your pronouns?
They, them.
And why does this podcast important to you? What does it mean to you?
I think this podcast means to me having students from different schools all unite and just listening to this podcast and just understanding that there's help outside of schools and they can listen to this and get advice from other students facing similar paths or challenges the same way.
I love it. Okay, and what's your favorite banned book?
My favorite banned book is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Who's it by?
Harper Lee.
Do you know anything about it?
I mean, I read the whole book, but it's just about this person, this black man. He was accused of raping and raping a white girl, and like he was like falsely accused of it, and then like went to jail, and then went to trials and all this stuff. It was a long time since I read it, but
Yeah,
he was found innocent. But
that's good.
yeah, because it wasn't him. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, I'm with one of our design team members. What is your name?
The Balladeer.
And what pronouns do you use?
He, him.
All right. And what does this podcast mean to you?
Kids with different identities, cultures, and races all coming together to share their experiences with the trauma that has happened with them from the community or their superiors.
All right. And what is your favorite banned book?
Fry Bread by Kevin Millard.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, and our resources for today is to make sure that you check out our Instagram, which is between_classrooms.
And the other resources will be located in our show notes. Before we leave, we want to send you off with just a small little quote to have you thinking about the day. This isn't the end. It's just a new beginning. Thank you so much.
Between classrooms where we speak truth. By students for students, that's the proof. Grab the mic, learn the movie groove. In our world, sit back and feel the youth.